What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of NBA to the Galaxy podcast, featuring your host. To my right, you got my man Slim, otherwise known as Jeremy. You can find him on X at RTR30111. Myself, you can find me at Scotty Drowned. The podcast itself, you're going to find that on X as well at To the Galaxy Pod. And To the Galaxy Pod is presented to you by DSM Media, which you can find at DSM_media. That being said, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the show. Definitely, if you haven't already, get involved in the comments. My man D-Rab is already in here lighting us up, and we're going to get him involved in the show as well. But Slim, before we get into topics, whatnot, whatever we're going to discuss in the show, how are you doing today, my man?
Doing good, man. As always, can't really complain. Always a blessing to do it again. So, yeah, man, I'm doing good.
I hear that. It's Friday, so I'm feeling blessed, man. I'm off work. I'm going into the weekend. Like you said, every day you wake up, that's a blessing. Another blessing is getting off work on a Friday, knowing you have Martin Luther King Day on Monday. You're going to have a nice 3-day weekend. It's going to be beautiful. Man. We'll be right back here on the pod on Monday, getting after it again. So I'm looking forward to all of it. But happy Friday, man. What we're going to get into in this one, I pulled the comment up here. D-Rab mentioned it. SGA MVP, crown him now. We're going to talk about that, as well as OKC taking down the Cleveland Cavaliers last night. We're also going to get into that Pacers and Pistons matchup that took place last night. Miles Turner, man.
You play with logos, Scotty. You play with logos.
I do too. That's why I find it hilarious.
Legos, not logos, Legos.
I picked up what you were putting down, man. Legos, and it's hilarious that Isaiah Stewart yelled at this man last night. But yeah, I get an extra kick out of it because I build Legos myself for real. So that was hilarious to me. But we'll talk about those two teams, what things are looking like for both of these teams, because that was kind of a decent matchup going into that game. Carried a little bit of hype there. You got Cade versus Halliburton. So that's interesting. Finished the night with the Rockets at the Kings. Now, mind you, the Rockets were on the tail end of a back-to-back. They take the L in Sacramento against the Kings. Kings playing a lot better under Doug Christie, which I'm surprised, man. I don't know. Sometimes it just takes, a big change to spark something. So maybe that's what it is. But I think you and myself, we both thought, Mike Brown is a pretty solid coach, but maybe it just wasn't meshing there. Doug Christie's pulling a lot more out of him. And then I don't know if we should fit. Maybe we should start with this, man. Should the Sixers shut down Joel Embiid? This one's close to my heart, and that's why I kind of just want to get it out the way. But yeah, that's all we got for you tonight. We are going to look at the weekend slate, take a look at some of the games over the weekend just to keep an eye on, and how we think some of those matchups might end up going. But yeah, man, let's start at the top, get the bad stuff, the negative stuff out of the way, okay? Sixers, I want your thoughts. Do you think the Sixers should shut down Joel Embiid? And the reason this has popped up today, Joel Embiid went out with the left foot strain, whatever that was, like 2-3 weeks ago. Was out for a couple weeks with that. Comes back, gets a workout in, I guess, today or yesterday. Now his knee starts swelling up. So he's going to miss another 7 to 10 days. And that's just for another evaluation. That's not for him to actually return. That's just for him to be evaluated again for the knee. So you've had the knee at the beginning of the season, you have the foot, now the knee again. You've had the facial injury. So there's a lot going on for Joel Embiid. It's not the only thing going on for the 76ers. You already lost Jared McCain to a torn meniscus. Maxey, he's trying to find a way without all of his guys there. Paul George. Yeah.
Rough.
Slim, what do you think, man? What do you think?
Before I answer that question, what seed are you guys?
Let me double check here. I want to say 10 off the top of my head. No, not even 11. They're behind the Bulls. So what?
Well,
3 games back technically of the Bulls, 2.5.
Well, I say this, like, if you can get Joel maybe to 70%, maybe that. I feel like he should still play because I feel like y'all are still a good enough team to at least make the play in if
Yeah,
everybody plays. But that just if everybody mindset is on getting there. A lot of guys probably not be in the right space of trying to win or whatnot.
yeah,
It's been a
yeah,
rough season for you guys. I mean,
yeah,
you talked about this off the books. Expectations were pretty high for the Sixers going into this season, but it just not has been a good season for you guys. So if you get Joel Embiid to at least 70, why not? But anything under that, I wouldn't play him. I wouldn't risk it. He's pretty much basically said that he's not basically going to be playing on second end or back to backs for the rest of his career. So
yeah.
hey, yeah, so you do have to be mindful of those type of things. So I would probably shut him down if he's not nowhere near 70% for sure.
Yeah, that's the tough part. Obviously, they're going to reevaluate him in about 2 weeks, and we'll learn more there. But I do feel you. You look at the Eastern Conference, the fact that they're not left behind, they're not left in the dust yet.
Yeah.
In the Eastern Conference, they could still even potentially get into an 8 seed, a 7 seed if they get hot at one point. Um, I just don't know if Embiid coming back in and out of the lineup is gonna get them where they need to get to. But to your point, there's not a lot of other choices as far as like just playing him. You know what I mean? Like you kind of have to, just because Paul George is healthy, he is playing. Maxi is healthy, he is playing. So you deserve it. You owe it to those guys to go out there and try to win basketball games. So I do feel that. And the other side of it, man, my thoughts and the reason my mind gravitates that way when I hear this about Embiid is because I'm a Duke fan. Let's be just completely transparent. Um, I love the way Cooper Flag plays. I love what I'm seeing in the college game right now. Obviously, Duke is one of the top teams. I get to watch them a lot as a Duke fan. I see what the number one pick looks like, and yeah, I would if I knew the Sixers could get the number one pick, I would do it. I would sit him for the rest of the year. The thing is, you have Maxey, you have Paul George. They're just not going to lose enough games to
Yeah.
be in the running to get that pick, man. Like, as bad as the season has been, they'll probably end up a little bit to a lot better than where they're at right now. Like, not up near the elites of the Eastern Conference by any means, but they could end the season in a little bit better shape than what they're in right now compared to, say, the Wizards or teams like that, you know what I mean, that are actively trying to lose. So it's a tough situation, man. We just wait it out. We hope that maybe a deal can get done at the deadline. I don't even know who you trade for, like what exactly they're missing. I saw a report the other day. They're looking for like backup point guard help to kind of replace Reggie Jackson and Kyle Lowry. So I guess that's a route. But yeah, without Embiid, man, it's hard to see anything going well. And to your point, 70%. Like I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know where Embiid's mind's at right now. Like maybe he's already given up on the season. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I guess we just wait 10 days and reevaluate it again. But it's a rough spot, man. And it makes me really uninterested in the Sixers, quite honestly. Even as a Sixers fan, it's hard to
I can
watch
feel
them
that.
right
Yeah.
now.
I can feel that. And trust me, I can feel that.
Yeah, Paul George has been very disappointing. Let's just put that out there. I don't think I've said that on this show, like transparently,
Yeah.
but he's been quite honestly. I don't want to take it too far, but is horrible too far? Like,
I mean, well, if you look at the money he's making,
for a second star, like if no Embiid, he's the second guy, or he needs to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's just not playing to that caliber, man.
Podcast Pete, man,
The other night, Justin Edwards gives us like 20 plus against the Thunder. Where's Paul George? Like this is the stuff I'm looking at. Kelly Oubre, right? Where are those guys? The Caleb Martins of the world.
Caleb Martin, yeah.
Those guys got to step up right now. They haven't. I have my doubts with Nick Nurse. So everything's going wrong. That's what happens when things are going wrong. You start having doubts. You start losing confidence.
Yeah.
And as they continue to lose games, man, on a back-to-back this weekend, on the road against the Pacers tomorrow, and then the Milwaukee Bucks on Sunday. So Good luck, man. I will probably catch at least one of those games this weekend, despite the NFL action. But yeah, the Sixers are draining. Let's move on from them. Let's move on to last night's action. Cavs at the Oklahoma City Thunder. Going into this game, man, I saw quite a few like sports cappers, like sports bettors, going into this game picking the Cleveland Cavaliers to once again beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. Not only beat them, but this time in OKC. And I won't lie to you, man. I went ahead. I laid Oklahoma City Thunder money line, SGA 25 plus points, cashed very easily for me last night. So I was kind of leaning OKC's way, even with some of the injuries they have on their plate right now. Instant reaction to this game last night and the way it kind of played out. The Cleveland Cavaliers lost this one kind of early. What were your thoughts coming out of this game?
Well, it's clear to me who's the MVP. SGA, I mean, if you go back real quickly, if you go back to last season, if I had to vote, he would have got my vote because that was the number one seed, and I don't think too many people expect them to have the type of season that they had last year.
Yeah.
And he was a huge part to do with that. Obviously, Chet came back, but you got to give SGA his props. Now, this season, man, SGA has been showing up in those marquee matchups. He's really like you have to consider like no Chet in any of these matchups, and he's still going out there getting the job done. So that's my main takeaway. But another takeaway I have to include in this is the unsung hero of all this, Lou Dort. For Lou Dort to hold Donovan Mitchell throughout two matchups to shoot the ball terribly, you have to give him his props. He should for sure be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. And those are my main two takeaways. And for SGA to get 40 throughout three quarters, and only 4 free throws, if I'm not mistaken, that's quite impressive.
No, I completely agree with you. I was actually just trying to pull up Donovan Mitchell's last matchup with them. So he has a total of 19 points in the last two matchups with OKC. Even in the win in Cleveland, only 11 points for him in that one. Shot 3 for 16 in the win in Cleveland. He shot 3 for 15 last night, to your point, with Lou Dort guarding him. And also Lou Dort hitting 6 threes last night as well, stepping up on the offensive department. No Hartenstein last night either in this one, which I thought was that's a big deal because you're going against Evan Mobley, you're going against Jared Allen.
No Chet.
Jalen Williams, man. The other Jalen Williams, right?
Jalen Williams,
He started in place and he filled it well, but they used a bunch of different guys from their bench. You mentioned SGA. It's in the title of the show today. Is he the MVP? I think he's making it very clear, to your point. And I thought you mentioned something that was very interesting. He does. It's almost like he circles games on his calendar. And that's exactly why I felt that way going into that game last night about the Thunder winning this, especially at home. I didn't think the Thunder were going to blow them out by any means. I thought, the Cavs are too good for that, but every dog has its day. I'm not losing too much faith in the Cavs off of a loss like that. Right. It's just that if you're OKC, you've got how many losses on the season? 6. You lost to this team the last time you played them. You're going to circle this game back home as a game that you have to win, right? It was a must win for Oklahoma City, just on the scale of achieving things throughout the regular season and accomplishing and gaining more confidence. You don't want to go into the postseason 0-2 with the Cavs, and then you meet them in the finals and all of that, right? So you get the W at home, you get it in dominating fashion, and that is something to follow on the other side with Donovan Mitchell, man, the struggles. If they were to ever match up, that is just very interesting. I've never seen him struggle like that against anyone, quite honestly. So speaks to the efforts Dort puts on the defensive end. Just a couple other things I'll point out in this one, man. Cavaliers, 21 turnovers. They had 3 times as many turnovers as Oklahoma City Thunder in this one. Oklahoma City had 7 total turnovers. Oklahoma City had 12 steals. That's their big calling card defensively, is getting steals, turning the ball over. They had 12 steals to the Cavs, 2 steals. Once again, it was a statement game from the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I don't know, man. I think it changes almost weekly who I might think is the best team in the NBA. But where are you at right now? The Celtics, the Cavs, the Thunder, are the Thunder at the top of your list right now as well?
Yeah, for sure, man. It's a lot of things have to factor, like no Chet, as I keep mentioning, and for them to keep constantly winning games, you have to
Yeah,
show those guys some love. And yeah, I mean both teams are elite. Don't get it twisted, but
yeah, they're very close.
yeah. But another guy I have to give a shout out to. Is it Carlson? Brandon Carlson for the Thunder.
Yeah, let me get
Off
his
the
numbers
bench
up
last
here.
night, 4 for 8 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3 point range, 17 minutes. That was huge for them.
Carlson, yeah, I see exactly what you're talking about. 17 minutes
Yeah,
off the
he,
bench.
he had an impact in that game for sure.
They're a very, very deep team. I mean, you look at Caruso off the bench, 10 points. Carlson, 11 points. Isaiah Joe, 12 points. He was 4 for 7 from the 3-point line.
Yeah, they have a lot
So
of depth, man.
even when guys miss time, to your point about Chet, it just doesn't seem to matter. Just the way they've drafted over the last few years. And that one trade for SGA just like changed the grand scheme of their organization,
Well,
man. But
I will say this: Doc Rivers was right. I got to give him his props. He
yeah,
told Kawhi, you know, but they insist on getting Paul George, and
yeah.
look how it played out. So yeah.
Yeah, you're not lying, man. Um, yeah, let's move on to the other Eastern Conference matchup. Well, you look at the Pacers and the Pistons last night, man, and I feel like the Pistons have been picking up some steam lately. They've been starting to get a little bit of recognition for how tough they're playing people.
Yeah,
Cade Cunningham should be an all-star this season.
no doubt, no doubt.
Um, what were your thoughts on this matchup? A 111 100 win for the Indiana Pacers. Indiana Pacers starting to come on. They're starting to pick up the pace here. No pun intended.
I said you did that, but I say like for Pascal Siakam to be talking, the way he did. I mean, I wonder what was said because Pascal don't give me that type of person to try to initiate anything like that. So I
Yeah.
wonder what was said throughout the game or whatever. But I find it fun with Isaiah Stewart. It's like you kind of always catch him into something nowadays. Like he's always mad. He's this tough guy, this
The
enforcer for the
enforcer.
team. Yeah,
Yep.
like the enforcer. Yeah, and so it's crazy. I just seen a video on the timeline on Twitter that what I was just messing with you about. He told Miles Turner he play with Legos, and basically referring to like him, being soft and all
Yeah.
things of that nature.
Yeah.
And like you said, it'll be a good playoff matchup for sure. I mean, you got Cade Cunningham, Halliburton, Pascal, where Jaden Ivey, he's out right now. But, they kind of match up pretty well for sure. But this is a
Yeah.
huge win for Indiana, no doubt. I got to give Tyrese Halliburton a lot of credit. He's been playing much better as of late, so shout out to him. Miles Turner hit 8 threes last night. And yeah, man, this team been starting to figure it out because I think you may have gained us some love a few episodes ago, but I think a
Yeah.
lot of guys in the media when I tried to write this team out way too quick. Like obviously they made it, they won the well, they didn't win it, but they made it to the NBA Cup finals or something like that against the Lakers. And obviously they didn't make it back there, but that doesn't mean that that's a failed season or whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, but they're starting to get back on the right track of things. So yeah, it was a good matchup for sure.
Yeah. Pacers are 8-2 in their last 10. They get a big W there in Detroit. Um, Detroit, do you think that they're able to hang in here and make the playoffs? They're at
Yeah.
the 9 seed right now. They're 21-20. They're right behind the Miami Heat, who are 20-19. The Atlanta Hawks 21-19, and then goes up to the Pacers with 23 wins. Do you see do the Pistons look like a playoff team to you? I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, they went out there like they got some OGs. They brought in Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway, Tobias. So those are the type of veterans they need around their young core, and they got a new head coach. So I don't see why not, especially like considering teams like the Sixers kind of struggling right now. I think that they can take advantage of it. You seen Brooklyn; they started the season out pretty hot, but they made it very clear that they're tanking at this point. I mean,
Yeah,
have you seen the Clippers? Man, what a what a butt whooping they put on the Nets there tonight, man. It was rough, but
they just whooped the Blazers last night as well, man.
Yeah, they did. I think the final score was like 67 to 129 or something. Like not scoring 80 points in a modern era is like
wild. It is
wild. But to the defense, that they really played nobody but with all due respect, like a bunch of G leaguers. Maybe Nicholas Claxton at best. Probably the only person who would have known. But
which he's Nick Claxton is solid when he has like other stars around him.
Right,
But when it's just him, he's kind of a scrub. Like he's not gonna make stuff happen himself. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Yeah, you put him aside like KD, James Harden. You get the picture. Man, I think Detroit can take advantage of these teams struggling and at least for sure make the play-in, if not the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, because I think to your point, the only team under them would be the Sixers, right? You have the Bulls right there, but I don't know. I feel like the Pistons can just be better than the Bulls. I think they might just have a better roster.
I think the Bulls may be sellers, man, at the trade deadline. So I don't think that they are necessarily looking to contend or make the playoffs or whatnot. So
5-5 in their last 10. Sixers are 3-7 in their last 10. Lost 4 straight. So I agree with you. I think Detroit just continue to play, smart ball and just play energized, right? Use your youth to your advantage. You got guys like Duran who's balling right now. He had 17 points, 17 rebounds last night.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if Cade just has a better shooting night, maybe they, compete a little bit harder in this game.
I would say this though. Hopefully Ivan can come back for them. I don't know if he's out for the season, but if he is out, then that's just a huge loss because he has been rolling all season. I think he was averaging like 17 a game for sure, career high.
Their second league before,
The thing with the Pistons though, man, like in their division, they're like 1-6 against the teams in their division.
So he broke his
15 against the teams in that conference.
He broke his leg basically. And so it says it'll be reevaluated in 4 weeks. I don't think that means he's going to be back, but he might be done for the season with a broken leg, I would imagine. Who knows with science?
Therapy but he is young though. He is quite young.
Yeah. So looking at the Pacers, I do agree with you. I think people wrote them off early. They should just continue to gather chemistry, continue to start playing even better basketball as the season goes on, I would imagine. So I do like both of these teams here to make the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. I think they've kind of shown themselves so far. But let's look at the Western Conference now. Take it to the late night matchup with the Rockets and the Kings. And I found this matchup very interesting. It's not necessarily like the actual game last night that I found interesting. It's just the matchup that I really like. The Rockets were on the tail end of a back-to-back, so I give them a little bit of leeway in this game against the Sacramento Kings. Kings able to come away with a 5-point victory. Malik Monk had a game, 26-9. Sabonis, 20, 14-7. De'Aaron Fox, 19-7. Amin Thompson, 20, 10-5. He had a game. Sengun had a game. Jalen Green had a game. What were your thoughts on these two teams, this matchup, and just kind of looking at both of these teams right now? You got the Rockets that are second in the Western Conference. You got the Sacramento Kings that are playing much better basketball under Doug Christie. Excuse me. What are your thoughts there, man?
First, I would like to actually has Jalen Green really figured it out? I mean, because over the past couple plus weeks, man, he's been on the tear. He really has. He really has. So
let's see. So 28 last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
34 the night before that, to your point, against Denver in a W. 42 before that against Memphis in a W. 27 against Memphis in a W. 29 against Washington in a W. 33 against the Lakers in a W. 27 against Boston in a W. And 22 against the Dallas Mavericks in a W. Did I say a W for Boston?
Yep.
Oh, a loss. Excuse me. That was a loss to Boston.
Okay,
There were
okay.
so many W's mixed in there that
Yeah.
I got a little ahead of myself. They're 8-2 in their last 10, with the losses being Sacramento last night and that game against Boston. Nonetheless, he still had 27 in the win against Dallas. He had 22, averaged 30 points in the month of January so far.
Hey man,
So
shout out to Jalen Green, man. I mean, I think he really figured it out, like how to be consistent with it. You know, you knew the
yeah,
talent was there, just a matter of him figuring out how to be consistent with it. So I think he has figured it out for sure. Uh,
48% from three on the month, man.
Quite impressive against it, especially against the teams they played against. But my thoughts on this matchup, man, 127 and 132. The Kings got the win. Although De'Aaron Fox struggled, throughout the whole night, you got to give Malik Monk, a lot of credit, dishing out 9 assists. But major credit goes to DeMar DeRozan. A lot of people were saying that he was the reason why the Kings were struggling
Yeah,
and whatnot. He didn't fit well and things like that. But from the looks of it, ever since they've been on a Doug Christian, like you said, they're like what 8-2. Yeah.
I don't know if they're 8-2 under him. You might be right. You might be right. I know they're 8-2 in
Or
their last 10 for sure.
I think that I think he coached like 10 games or something like that. Yeah. So ever since Doug Christian, basically the point is, ever since he became head coach, you kind of get the picture. Like
Yeah,
things have, this team has been rolling. Things have been clicking for them. I think DeMar DeRozan is kind of finding that balance of when to, attack and when not to, and even knocking down his threes. He went 2 for 4 last night. That's pretty good for a guy
yeah,
of his, play style or whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, for those guys like Keegan Murray, double double, Sabonis double double, for all those guys to step up while De'Aaron Fox struggled, that's pretty huge. And yeah, like even Keon Ellis, like before he got injured last night, you could just, look at
yeah,
his impact on the game. It was nonetheless. So yeah, with Houston though, man, like they shouldn't get discredit because, like you said, second end of a back to back always going to be tough in the NBA,
yeah.
especially against good teams for sure. So yeah, Jalen Green finished the night with 28 points, and Dylan Brooks shooting 14 shots is hilarious.
They do still have that guy. I don't think Fred Van Vliet played last night
No,
either.
he didn't. He didn't play last night. No.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that may have been Tari Eason first game back. Oh no, Jabari Smith Jr. too. So that okay, I can see that now.
Yeah, he's got
Well,
a
I
fractured
guess
hand.
I guess you can give Dylan Brooks the exception that no Fred Van Vliet and no Jabari Smith Jr. Then okay, I could understand now.
So Houston, number 2 in the Western Conference right now. They're 7 games back of OKC, obviously. Um, but
Nonetheless,
nonetheless, a game and a half ahead of Memphis, who's in the 3 seed right now. And
yeah.
you look down where the Kings are. They're 21-20. They're at the 9 seed right now. They're behind the
Mhm.
likes of Minnesota, Dallas right now. Just a half game back of Minnesota and a full game back of Dallas. And I'll be honest with you, bro. Maybe not Minnesota. Maybe Minnesota like figures something out, right? Like I'm not going to doubt Ant Edwards too hard here, but I feel like the Kings could jump a Dallas team without Luka. Maybe I'm putting too much stock in the Kings, though. I do want to ask you this. If these teams
See that?
somehow matched up in the postseason, because I do find them to be interesting matchups. You got Sengun, you got Sabonis, right? You got De'Aaron Fox, you
Yeah.
got Jalen Green, you got DeRozan, you got a mixture of guys over there in Houston that can
Mhm.
all do a bunch of different things, right? Who would you like in a playoff series of these two teams? Who do you think you would roll with?
I would have to go with Sacramento, and it has a lot to do with like just that veteran, that experience in the postseason. Like,
Yeah,
although DeMar DeRozan hasn't won anything, he has a ton of playoff experience. Um, who else on that team been to the playoffs? Not a ton of guys, but Darren Fox, he's much older. Sabonis has
I
some
think
playoff experience.
Fox has been to the postseason once, right?
Yeah, yeah, one time. That was pretty
Right.
much it. One
Yeah.
time, and Sabonis went to the playoffs a few times, so I would have to
Yeah.
weigh experience over those guys. But then again, though, like Houston, they got some guys too, like Fred Van Vliet, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams, Jeff Green. They got some guys that been to the postseason as well. So It's
It
probably
is
a toss
interesting.
up. I'll probably go with the Kings overall, though. Yeah, I'll probably go with the Kings.
Yeah, I lean the Kings as well, man, and I think it's I think it part of it is my faith in De'Aaron Fox. Like I do think that
It's
he
fair.
is like the best player on both teams. Like he's the best player of the two teams. Now, Jalen Green the last month, I don't know. Like if he's playing
Yeah.
like that, I don't know. But
Hey, man.
I think it is my faith in Fox. I think it is my trust in Sabonis as a veteran. To your point, and of course you do got guys like Malik Monk that have played in big spots as well before. DeMar DeRozan obviously starting to play a little bit better. So I do kind of agree with you. I think I would lean the Kings in this one just based on experience and just a little more star power, in my opinion. But Sengun, Jalen Green, those types of guys are up and coming stars. They will be stars soon, and maybe it is this season. So it's not to take a ton of credit from the Houston Rockets there at all. But
Yeah,
I do like what the Kings are doing currently, man.
yeah, I mean, they figured it out, man. 8-2 in their last 10. So shout out to Doug Christie.
Yeah, Doug Christie, it's very interesting. I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the show, but I consider myself I don't like not a Mike Brown fan, but I do think he's a good coach. Like I think he can coach a team. We've seen him coach teams to championships, right? To playoff runs. So I was surprised when they let him go. Doug Christie getting more out of him now. Maybe I shouldn't have been as surprised. He's getting the
Yeah,
most out
I
of him.
could agree. I was kind of shocked when they did fire him. No doubt. I just looked at the market out there. I didn't just see anybody that's just better than him out there.
Yeah,
But
they
hey,
had it in
man,
house apparently.
yeah, they had it in the house. So
I saw something like he showed them like defensive clips of him playing defense back when he was playing for the Sacramento Kings, and that apparently got the guys like really locked in, got them to buy in with him because of the effort that he showed back in his playing career. So I thought that was an interesting tidbit from that
yeah,
squad.
Doug Christie, man, was an underrated defender for sure.
He was, man. That squad was fun back in the day. That Sacramento Kings team. Let's take a look at this weekend. We're going to be back Monday, man, Martin Luther King Day. So we may as well look at this weekend because we're going to take a look back at it on Monday, most likely, when we get the show in. So tonight we got the Minnesota Timberwolves at the New York Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns, I do believe, is a game time decision, so not 100% sure if he's playing in this one. Otherwise, would obviously be a big rematch happening. I wanted to ask you this, though. Right now, if you needed to win one playoff game, are you going into that game with Anthony Edwards or Jalen Brunson? And I don't mean future. I don't mean one player or the other. Just one playoff game right now where they are at in their careers.
One playoff game. I'm gonna go with Brunson, man. I'm gonna go with Brunson. One game. Big body Brunson. That's what I'm gonna go with.
That's so interesting, bro. That's why I asked. Because I feel like most people would lean Ant. Maybe not, though. Maybe not. Brunson is a big game baller. Like he can get you a playoff one win.
He get you a win. He
can get you a game.
He get you a win.
Yeah, so it is interesting, bro. Because obviously Ant is a very good player, and like, yeah, going forward, like absolutely, I would take Ant over Brunson just because age, all of that, in mind. But one game, I'd probably go Brunson as well. He's just clutch. Minnesota at New York tonight. We got Orlando at Boston. So Paolo, he should be in for this game against Boston. It is in Boston, though, so we'll see how that goes for Orlando. Denver at Miami tonight. That's a big game for both teams.
Jimmy coming back.
Is it?
Yeah, he's in the starting lineup. Yeah, I just seen
That's crazy.
I
wonder what if he just comes out and like catches the ball and like throws it out of bounds?
I don't know, man.
Maybe he's changed his mind.
Maybe Adam Silver make that phone call, man.
Yeah, that's true. You do stuff like that, you're gonna get kicked out the league for sure. Yeah. That's very fair. So big game for both of these teams. They're both vying for playoff spots. You got OKC on the tail end of a back-to-back. visiting the Dallas Mavericks. OKC is favored in that game. No Luka, obviously.
Okay.
We'll see, man. On the tail end of a back-to-back after a big matchup against Cleveland, we'll see. But I will say most of OKC's starters did not play much of that fourth quarter last night. So
yeah. Actually, I don't think they did at all.
yeah, so they might be still fresh, despite the back-to-back. So I feel that as well. Tomorrow, some big matchups, man. We got the Sixers at the Pacers. I mentioned that earlier. No Embiid. Cleveland at Minnesota. So Minnesota will be on the tail end of the back-to-back there. Cleveland coming off the loss. And then Atlanta at Boston. Boston's on a back-to-back at that point on the tail end. Can Atlanta maybe do something? I don't know. Maybe gain some confidence. And then you finish up the weekend. You got Sunday, a bigger matchup, Philadelphia at Milwaukee, Denver at Orlando, and then Lakers at Clippers. We got an LA showdown on Sunday.
Interesting.
So we got some games this weekend, man. Some stuff to keep
Also,
your eyes on.
a matchup, I say to look out for the Grizzlies and the Spurs tonight. That should be a fun matchup.
Ooh, I do like that one. I like that
Zach
one.
Edey dunk on Wemby, their last matchup. That was pretty.
I didn't peep that, bro. Yeah. That's crazy though. I need to go back and look that up. I did not peep that. But yeah, that is actually a great matchup. And once again, two teams that are fighting for playoff spots. Memphis obviously in a little bit better situation. But the Spurs, right there, they're right behind your Warriors, actually, right? A half game back of them. So we'll see, man. The Suns have been funky this season too. NBA, really weird season, it feels like. You just have three teams like coasting, but you do have quite a few surprise teams mixed in here as well.
Hey man, trade deadline 3 weeks away.
Yeah. We're going to have to focus in on that. We're going to have to focus in on that in the coming weeks. Start to pick up some of these rumors, see what teams are going to be making some moves here. And maybe we'll be having some different conversations around some of these teams, maybe, man.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe we see a blockbuster deal. Who knows?
Yeah. Like you said, if the Bulls are sellers, maybe Zach LaVine finally finds a home or something. Maybe a Kobe White. We'll see how it plays out. Do you got anything else before we get out of here on Friday, man?
Well, that's pretty much it, man. We covered everything, so yeah.
I love it, man. I'm glad we could get the show in tonight, Slim. Let's get back at it Monday. We'll be on around.
Yes, sir.
Do you work Monday?
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, they got you working on it. Oh, I'm just like,
no. You're right. You're right, bro. It's rough out here.
I'm just playing. But the reason I ask, we'll be going live roughly around the same time on Monday evening. So keep your eyes out for that, guys. But that's all we got for this episode. If you haven't already, give Slim a follow at RTR30111 on X. You can find me at Scotty Drown. You can find the pod at To The Galaxy Pod on X. Guys, help us out. Hit that subscribe button, and we will see you next week. Peace.